Prisons are built as the ultimate barriers. They are designed to contain, to separate, and to hold fast against any challenge. Yet the human spirit possesses an inherent drive that often refuses to be contained. It yearns for liberty, pushing against physical and psychological boundaries. This deep-seated desire for freedom has fueled some of history's most audacious acts. It has led to escapes that defy belief and become the stuff of legend. These stories are more than just thrilling tales. They stand as powerful testaments to human ingenuity, meticulous planning, and sheer audacity. They offer a compelling glimpse into the extraordinary lengths individuals will go to reclaim their liberty. Often, these attempts are made against seemingly insurmountable odds. Among the annals of prison breaks, a few stand out for their sheer daring and lasting impact. One of the most famous attempts unfolded on a desolate island. Alcatraz, known as the Rock, was an infamous federal penitentiary situated on a cold, isolated island in San Francisco Bay. It was considered escape-proof. In 1962, 3 inmates challenged this reputation: Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin. Their plan was intricate and audacious. Over months, they meticulously prepared their escape. They used discarded spoons to slowly chip away at the concrete around the ventilation grills in their cells. To conceal their work, they created elaborate dummy heads from soap, toilet paper, and real hair. These were placed in their beds to fool the night guards during checks. Their most ingenious creation was an inflatable raft and life vests. These were painstakingly crafted from over 50 stolen raincoats, sealed with heat from steam pipes. On the night of June 11, 1962, they slipped through the holes they had created. They navigated the prison's internal workings and reached the water's edge. They launched their makeshift raft into the frigid, treacherous waters of the bay. Their disappearance sparked an immediate, massive manhunt. Despite extensive searches, no definitive trace of the men was ever found. Their fate remains one of history's enduring mysteries. Did they survive the perilous crossing and disappear into the world? Or did the bay claim them? The official stance is that they drowned. This unsolved mystery only solidified Alcatraz's fearsome reputation, even as it highlighted a critical vulnerability in its defenses. The legend of the escapees persists. Another remarkable story of collective defiance and ingenuity took place during World War II. It involved hundreds of Allied airmen held captive in a German POW camp. Stalag Luft III, near Sagan in Germany, was designed to prevent escape. Yet the prisoners, primarily Allied Air Force personnel, were determined to break free. What became known as the Great Escape was a meticulously planned operation on an unprecedented scale. It involved the coordinated efforts of hundreds of men. Their plan centered on digging 3 long tunnels codenamed Tom, Dick, and Harry. These tunnels were intended to run hundreds of feet under the camp's perimeter fence. The scale of the undertaking was immense. It required incredible teamwork, organization, and secrecy among the prisoners. Resourcefulness was key to their success. They used materials scavenged from within the camp, like bedboards for shoring up tunnels and food cans for tools. Even simple items like bed sheets were vital, used to carry away the excavated sand. This sand had to be carefully dispersed around the camp without detection. The determination of these men was unwavering. They faced constant danger of discovery, collapses, and the sheer physical exhaustion of the labor. Tunnel Harry was eventually completed. On the night of March 24, 1944, over 200 men attempted to escape through it. However, the tunnel turned out to be shorter than planned, emerging just short of the tree line. Only 76 men managed to get out before the escape was discovered. Tragically, most were recaptured. In a brutal act, 50 of the recaptured escapees were executed by the Gestapo, a stark reminder of the risks involved. While ultimately unsuccessful for the majority, the escape showcased extraordinary courage and ingenuity born from desperation and the will to fight on. The history of prison breaks is filled with countless other examples, each demonstrating diverse methods employed by those seeking freedom. Escapees often exploit weaknesses in security. Sometimes, the simplest tools or even fakes can be the most effective. One notorious American gangster proved this point dramatically. John Dillinger was a notorious bank robber during the Depression era. He was captured and held in the Crown Point Jail in Indiana, a facility considered virtually escape-proof. The jail was heavily guarded, and authorities believed they had finally contained the elusive criminal. But Dillinger had other plans. In a move that became instantly legendary, Dillinger famously used a wooden gun to intimidate guards. He had carved the replica from a washboard or a block of wood. Using this crude fake weapon, he managed to bluff his way past multiple armed guards. He seized real weapons and locked up his captors. He then stole the sheriff's car and drove away, making a mockery of the supposedly impregnable jail. His escape further cemented his outlaw status. Other escapes rely less on force and more on cunning, deception, and disguise. Some of the most poignant escapes were driven by a desperate need to bear witness. Alfred Wetzler and Rudolf Vrba were two Slovakian Jews imprisoned in the Auschwitz concentration camp during World War II. Their escape was not just for personal freedom. Their primary goal was to alert the world to the systematic mass murder occurring within the camp's walls. They meticulously gathered and memorized details of the atrocities. In April 1944, they hid themselves inside a hollowed-out section of a woodpile outside the camp's inner perimeter. They remained concealed there for 3 days. This was a critical period, as camp regulations dictated that if a prisoner was not found within 3 days, the search would be widened beyond the immediate area. After 3 days, they emerged and began a perilous journey across occupied Poland. They relied on their knowledge and sheer determination to evade capture. They successfully reached Slovakia and compiled a detailed report of the horrors they had witnessed. This became known as the Vrba-Wetzler Report. Their escape and subsequent report were instrumental in providing undeniable evidence of the Holocaust to the Allied powers. It was an escape that changed history. These stories of daring prison escapes are far more than just thrilling tales of adventure and cunning. They are profound reflections of the human condition itself. They speak to the enduring power of hope, even in the most hopeless of circumstances. They highlight the incredible resilience of the human spirit when pushed to its limits. Above all, they underscore the fundamental innate desire for freedom that seems to be hardwired into our very being. It is a drive that transcends fear. These narratives remind us that even against overwhelming odds and seemingly impenetrable barriers, the will to overcome can find a way. Ingenuity can flourish under pressure. The pursuit of liberty, whether from physical confinement or other forms of oppression, has always inspired acts of extraordinary courage and ingenuity throughout history. The individuals who undertook these daring escapes, successful or not, have etched their stories into the annals of history. They serve as powerful symbols of resistance and the unyielding quest for freedom.